Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video guide for Ark Survival Evolved. Today in this video, folks, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about taming a Thylacoleo. The very first thing that you need to know about it is a knockout tame, and you do need a saddle to ride it. Also, the Thylacoleo can be found in the redwood forest, and normally they tend to hang upside down from the redwood trees. There is one right there in the distance, so I will show you it. This is the one that I am going to show you how to tame. And right there I have a trap. It is a 2x2 foundation with 2 walls going up and a set of ramps going down one side. So I've got my Thylacoleo, I've got the trap. Let's have a look at what you will need to tame it. You do want the extraordinary kibble if you have access to it. Otherwise you could probably use the raw prime meat, the cooked prime meat, the raw meat, the cooked meat, and generally also you can use the mutton. So this is what you will need to craft the saddle, and you can craft it at level 51. This is a bit of a challenging creature to tame, simply because it does like to hide up in the redwood trees, and it is fairly dangerous, at least the area it spawns in. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try and aggro it from this distance, and normally it should come towards me within a straight line. At least that's what I'm counting on. Now I did build my trap in the water because that was the flattest surface I could find. That is not deep enough, so I should be able to kite it. Now because you will probably be building your trap in the redwood forest, sometimes things may go wrong, and things go wrong. You just basically run around the trap and try and kite it up the ramp into the trap. Whilst the Thylacoleo can jump when you are riding it, it does not tend to do that out of its own will, so its AI won't do it, so it will not overjump the trap. See if we can get it. It is a bit difficult because I am trying to hit it off the back of my wyvern, so I will now reposition here and we'll see exactly what the Thylo does. Okay, so it's fallen into the water. It is derping out. Things are a bit complicated, so I will kite it around towards the trap. I will have to cut this segment out. Okay, so I've successfully managed to re-aggro the Thylacoleo. I am bringing it towards the trap. Now, one thing that does complicate the process of kiting it into the trap is the water. Whilst I am on a high or a tall mount, that kind of does not complicate my way of movement. It does do that for the Thyla, as you can see. When it gets quite deep, it will have to swim. So I do want to re-aggro it. It has lost aggro. The other thing that you need to know about the Thyla is that it does lose torpor quite quick, and I recommend using the long neck rifle with the trank darts. Okay, finally got its attention, so we'll see what it does. Now ideally you want to try and kite your Thyla off of a mount. It does help with keeping you safe. A Rex is just as good. Now I am using the wyvern. It is not the most of maneuverable creatures, but this is quite a ways away from my base, so I'm trying to get it to go up the ramp. It may take a certain amount of attempts. Another way to build a trap is to have ramps all the way around. This time around, out of laziness, I just went for one side with the ramps, which can sometimes make it a bit more challenging. So the job is half done. The Thyla is of course now focused on the ramps, which is good and bad, so we need to get its attention focused on me somehow without actually hitting it. We don't want to damage it too much. I'm waiting for things to reload. Now of course I could use the flapping mechanic. Never mind. Okay, it just kind of slightly overshot that. That's fine. I lost aggro on it, so I can re-aggro it and get it to go in the trap eventually. Okay, there we go. It took a couple of attempts, but it is now in the trap, and now I can start knocking it out. Now one thing to bear in mind is, because I went for a more simplified trap with just ramps down one side instead of having ramps on all 4 sides, It did make my job a bit more complicated, but that was out of laziness. And then the other thing that complicated the kiting of the Thyla into the trap was the water. Whilst it is not deep for my wyvern, it is a bit deeper for, or it is deep for the Thyla. So once it's in, it's a case of just knocking it out. And do keep in mind that the torpor on the Thylacoleos tends to go down fairly quick. Now, if you use kibble, you will be okay. It will tame fairly quick, and you won't need too much narcotic. But if you use any other item to tame it, such as prime meat or the mutton, you may need a lot more narcotics to keep it knocked out while it is taming. So I'm going to reposition here, but it does tend to go fairly quick. Now you can of course use the crossbow and the trank arrows. However, I personally recommend using the long neck rifle with the trank darts. Now that was a misfire before because my game decided to freeze out and it wouldn't shoot, so this is one of the more random bugs in this game. It is very annoying when that happens, so it seems to have lost interest in me. That means it is about to go down fairly soonish. So I'm not far from knocking it down. It has gone down. Be careful not to shoot it after it's gone down, as you will of course lose taming effectiveness, which then translates into losing levels and potentially points put into skills and stats that you may want to use on this creature. Now what I like to do with my wyvern is I like to park it above the trap and then kind of creep into the trap with my tame. It can be derpy at times, or you can come up the ramp just like this. This allows me to have access to both my wyvern and the Thylacoleo. So I will wait for it to starve out and then place the kibble in its inventory, and when it's ready it should tame. Now if you're going to use the starving technique, this time around I actually went against it halfway through the taming process and just put the kibble in there. But if you do decide to go with the starving technique, for this, of course, you can use Dodo Dex. It is an amazing app that you can find and use both on Android as well as iOS devices. And it will tell you for how long you need to starve any creature in the game before you put the kibble in. But because I have it enclosed in a trap, I just decided to put the kibble in there anyways, because the chances of losing this creature are very, very, very small. Once it has been tamed out, you can just put the saddle in its inventory and you can ride it. So it is a very cool and useful ground creature. It is actually one of my favorites. And I'm going to show you why I like this creature so much. It can climb up vertical walls, which is totally cool. It does make traversing the terrain in the game very, very easy. It is quite a powerful carnivore as well. Not as powerful as the T-Rex, but being able to climb up walls and bases and stuff like that is totally amazing. I'll show you another thing that this creature can do. So you can kind of look down and then pounce on players. The way you look down is you just rotate your camera angle, you use your crosshairs to aim, and then you can pounce on other creatures or players, which is totally cool. Definitely viable for PvP. The problem with it is because it is close to the ground, there are creatures that can stun you off of it, like the Perlovias. The Thylacoleo is indeed one of the most coolest creatures in the game, especially as far as land creatures goes. It does have some really cool abilities and definitely very, very powerful to have. Now, what I showed you in this video is just one method of taming this particular creature. There are a few ways of doing it. You can try and bowl it, you can try and kite it in other areas and stuff like that, but I personally prefer the safety of using a trap, which is what I showed in this video. It's not anything too complicated, and I do hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to support me on the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself, and if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on this channel. Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And of course, don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you get notified when I upload new videos and content to the channel. Also, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethtopia Discord. Links to this, of course, you can find down below in the video's description. as well as in a pinned comment from myself. Until next time, stay safe folks.